Hey, this is Dave and Rich again at housebarons.com. Today we're going to show you how to take an ordinary board like this, and with a few simple cuts, we're going to go ahead and make this into a floating shelf. We're going to use our table saw and take 2 inches off this board. What we're left with is one board that's about 2 inches long. This board is about 5 1/4. Okay, the next step is we want to drill holes from the back of the shelf through the anchor piece into the actual body of the shelf. And you can see the cut right there. So we're basically doing this. We're drilling holes that deep. So we're going through the anchor part of the shelf into the meat of the shelf, and then this piece of tape I wrapped around the drill bit says, okay, that's deep enough, because we're going to go 4 1/2 inches from the back of the shelf into the meat of the shelf. So we're making 2 6-foot shelves. The same process works for a shorter shelf or longer shelf. Okay, so we've cut our dowels. Now we're going to just drill on the holes we marked every 8 inches across the back, and it'll be well supported. Okay, I've got my 1/2 inch drill bit, and I'm taking my 1/2 inch dowel, and these are 4 1/2 inches long, and they're going to go up. I'm drilling the hole up to the blue tape. Okay, so we've got our holes drilled. Now that we've finished, we're going to go ahead and take out our screws that's holding the anchor portion of the shelf to the meat of the shelf. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the back anchor part of the shelf off. Now, the reason I use screws is to show you that you can do this with just a drill and a saw. That's about the only tools you need. If you had clamps, you could clamp this as well. Just another tool you have to buy, or if you already have it, great. But this is actually a very simple project. You know, minimum tools. This is how it's going to be, where we're going to anchor this to the wall, and then we'll slide the shelf on in a couple screws, and we'll be done. So right now we're going to take this off, and we're going to go ahead and glue each of these pegs into the anchor portion of the shelf. These never need to come out again. The wood glue is a much stronger glue than the actual wood. These things will have to break before they'll come out. So that's what we'll do next. So what we're going to do now is we're going to glue these pegs in. Just need just a spot of glue and spin it in as you go. And then I want to make sure it goes all the way to the back, because you don't want to have too much peg or you have to re-drill the holes. We got our pegs in, and now we're going to put the shelf on like this, just to make sure that we get the pegs aligned as they dry with the glue. Okay, one thing you want to keep in mind as you put these pegs in and glue them is that if you get glue and it's running down the side, you definitely want to take care of that, wipe that off, because you want these two surfaces to fit completely tight together. And when that glue dries, it'll make a ridge that will not allow the boards to meet well together. Next step is to sand these boards, just kind of get them ready for staining. Sanding can be done just by hand. You don't need a special tool. This belt sander will just do the process that much quicker. You can see the difference between these two boards. We used a 40 grit sandpaper on this belt, and it's just smoothing it up, taking off all the rough parts and cleaning it up a bit, and then once we do this board, we'll be ready for stain. Okay, for our second to last step, we're going to go ahead and apply some stain, and this is Verithin wood stain gunstock. It's a little bit of a darker stain. It's kind of what we're going for. And so we just dip the cloth, and we're just going to apply it everywhere onto the wood. and then we'll come back real quick and wipe it off. Because it's a dark stain, you don't have to spend a lot of time letting it soak in, and we did a pretty rough sanding with the 40 grit paper, so it'll absorb pretty well. The last step that we're going to take is spraying a clear satin polyurethane over this, fast drying, and it'll give it a nice little sheen. Oh, and what I've done here is I put if you can see this, I put a screw through the bottom of a board. And basically what I'm going to do is rest this on this, because I want to spray the whole thing at once. And so we're just making a turntable so I can spray the whole thing. And then I'll start by spraying the bottom of this, or this end first. Okay. And then sit it right on there, and we're going to get spraying. Much like you would if you were spraying cabinets, just nice long lines. We have installed the anchor piece of the shelf, and we hit 4 studs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I recessed these holes a bit and used cabinet screws to get a good hold, and it's pretty sturdy. And then all that's left is to slide the shelf on the pegs. And there you go. We finished up the shelf, and you can see with basically just a saw and a drill, you can do the very same thing. If this project was helpful at all, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you got any questions, you can always leave a comment, and we'll answer that just as soon as we can. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. And if you want to be notified of the next videos that come out, go ahead and hit that bell. YouTube will shoot them out to you as soon as they're made. Thanks a lot for viewing, and we'll see you next time.